Welcome all back to your show where I'm just the host, the Double RT Boxing Show, the Ready Talk Boxing Show, the boxing rehab for us boxing junkies. And today we're talking why this is a good fight. The WBC welterweight silver bout between Sebastian Formella, the IBO champion. There is an IBO welterweight title at stake versus Shawn Porter. This is a good fight, and I know there's been a few talks about it throughout the boxing community on YouTube, but it's all been just sugar coated bullshit for views. This we're going to actually talk about the fight because this is the Ready Talk Boxing Show, and I might be one of the few channels in the stateside that's a little familiar with Sebastian Formella. Now, I might be saying his name wrong, I might not, but I'm not like an encyclopedia familiar with him. I'm only familiar with him because I was following Mbenga. If you follow the Double RT Boxing Show, if you're part of this rehab community, you know Mr.A is addicted to the trinket belts. I follow the belts. I like the belts. So I was, I didn't do really reporting on it, but I was watching the IBO champion Mbinga. I was following that belt. I liked his length. I liked his size. I like, okay, cool. He's an outside power boxer. I like that. And he was getting pretty good older veteran names on his resume. I was like, okay. And so I followed him. And then I see on BoxRec, oh shit, he lost. Who'd he lose to? I watched the fight. He loses to Sebastian Formella. Oh, okay. So down the road, Shawn Porter's next fight rumored to be Sebastian Formella. I'm sitting there, the name's like, fuck, I know that name. I know that name. At first, I thought it was the name that Sam Egerton beat for the IBF international belt he just lost to Cheeseman. That's what I thought Formella was, but that was the Italian guy. So once I looked up the name, I was like, oh, this is the dude who beat Mbenga. I know who this guy is. And then he's going to fight Shawn Porter. Okay, this is a good fight. And the reason why I'm going to say this is a good fight, unlike everyone else out there in the boxing world, oh, Shawn Porter's had a tough resume. He deserves a toss. Fuck that. No, we're not saying that. This is a good fight and a good test. I said it. This is a good test for Shawn Porter. Now we're going to talk why it is a test for Shawn Porter. Now, speaking of the resume for Shawn Porter, everyone says, oh, he's been in there with killers, blah, blah, blah. This is the Ready Talk Boxing Show. We're boxing junkies. We could easily just fucking snort a line, smoke a fucking blunt of uppercuts, and be on our way, but if we're not going to enjoy the high and talk about it, then what the fuck we doing here, right? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about it on the Ready Talk Boxing Show. Shawn Porter's resume. We're going to talk, and listen what it is. He lost all his big fights. Shawn Porter lost all his big fights, and he's beaten who he's supposed to beat. So yes, this is a good fight for Shawn Porter. He needs to show up. We give him, oh, Shawn Porter is one of the elites. If you watch the show right here on the Double RT Boxing Show, you've seen the episodes, the top 5 welterweights, the B squad, you will see Shawn Porter is the number 1 in my B squad. I don't have Shawn Porter in the top 5 of the A squad in the welterweights because out of his 3 losses, they're all 3 title shots. He lost to the big names, and pretty much, he gives good fights, but he loses, and you can say, oh, his tough resume. They're smaller dudes, The only dude who's not small in that was a Berto. This is two fights after Mayweather fought him. You know what I mean? So Shawn Porter beating who he's supposed to beat. He came up on the scene, styles make fights, smashed through Devin Alexander and Paulie Malignaggi, fucking lost to Kell Brook. After that, he fights Bonet. Um, Somewhere in there is Broner, Granados. He loses to Keith Thurman. Fucking fights Danny Garcia. That's it. The people he's beaten are smaller dudes coming up, not true welterweights, and we say that about Tank Davis. Everyone shits on Tank Davis for beating smaller cats from a smaller weight class. Shawn Porter's done the same thing. It's like not saying Shawn Porter's not a good fighter. This is just a ready talk boxing show. We're talking boxing, and this Sebastian Formella is IBO welterweight champion. He has now. I'm thinking Shawn Porter should knock him out around round 7, round 8. But Formella has the equipment, the tools in the toolbox to bring out what we think Shawn Porter is. If we still think Shawn Porter's top 5 A squad, a lot of people think he is. Formella has the tools to bring it out. He's 5'11" to 5'7", always height advantage against Shawn Porter. So that's of course. I think he's going to have the reach. Another always, pretty much. But Formella is a good outside boxer. He has good movement. He takes a pretty decent shot. He's ballsy enough to throw in between shots. So put that with the movement. Put that with the undefeated. Don't know how. Not used to losing. He's an IBO champion. So he has enough the movement to make Shawn Porter move. Cut off the ring. Like I said, Shawn Porter's gonna have to cut off the ring, show ring generalship, show some slipping and counter with the punch selection of Sebastian. I said, or is Shawn Porter just gonna treat him how he treated Paulie Malignaggi, just roll him over and run right through him? I'd be surprised. Like I said, I'm expecting Shawn Porter to knock Sebastian out, but I'd be surprised if he just rolls right through him like 4 rounds. I'm like, oh, okay. Quicker than what I expected. But like I said, this is a good fight because Shawn Porter really hasn't beaten a welterweight. He hasn't beaten a legit welterweight. And you can say what you will, but Formella's a number 9 in the world. If you respect the rankings or not, he's an IBO champion. If you respect that or not. But he is a Formella ranked fighter with some outside boxing skills to make Shawn Porter use his brain, his feet, ring generalship, slipping and sliding counters. I think this is a good fight. This is what Shawn Porter needs. He needs these fights to prove who he is. Because right now, he hasn't beaten no one elite. He's fought a lot of elite fighters, but he hasn't won. He's like fucking Broner. That's his most elite win. Adrian Broner. Or you could say Danny Garcia, but both 140 guys. You know what I mean? So, hell if I were, like I said, if you're not on your A game, Shawn Porter will whoop your ass. But he hasn't whooped no elite A fighter ass. Questionable. Some say he might have won. Hey, but he lost, I said, hey, he lost to Ugas, but hey, he won that fight, right? So now we're going to end this on a little funny, let's just talk about, because we're talking boxing. Let that shit go out. Fucking the IBO belt here. Even though this is for the WBC silver. Mr.A.'s thoughts. Talk that talk. What if the PBC decides, since they rarely acknowledge WBO, even though Leo just got that WBO belt, what if they bracket Shawn Porter as the IBO champion, and now we have IBO champion Shawn Porter, Spence unified champion, and who's the other one? WBO, IBS, who's the WBC? Well, the fourth champ, I can't think right now. You got Spence is the IBF. Oh, and Pacquiao. You know, it's like, fuck, you know what? Pacquiao's doing his own thing. We need another belt. Until Ugas gets that WBA belt, what if they want to make fucking... What if the PBC decides to somehow turn the IBO belt into something? That'd be crazy, since they don't acknowledge the WBO. And Shawn Porter is one of their elite fighters, one of their marquee names. So put a belt on him. WBC silver or the IBO champion. I don't know, but that's just a Mr. A's thoughts. But again, this is a good fight for all the reasons. I think Sebastian Formella has the tools to make Shawn Porter show us who a lot of us say he is. Thank you for your time and support. Leave a comment down below. What do you think of this fight? Do you think Shawn Formella has any chance? I don't think he does, but just leave a comment down.